We're here with Beth Anderson talking about summer internships and jobs. Beth, could you tell us a little about internships for upcoming juniors and seniors?
I'll be glad to, Stacy. One of the most important things that a junior can be looking for is an internship, whether to complete that during their junior year or during their summertime away. And you have to remember an internship can be a paid position or a non-paid position. And what I encourage students to do is start probably a semester ahead of time to start looking for that internship. And opportunities to look for those things may include talking with professors, people within the department you're majoring in. They have relationships within the community that they could help you find an internship. You can come to the Career Services office, and we do have some available. But then also, I think the most important way for you to find an internship is to network with people and ask about opportunities. And one way that is so beneficial for students to do is to take the subject that you're majoring in and go and talk with people in that profession and develop a relationship with those folks. By talking with people about what they're doing, it helps you decide, is this really what I want to be doing? And then the students can also have the opportunity to say to them, do you have internship opportunities available with your company?
Mm-hmm. So with an internship, I know a lot of times they lead into jobs.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about how to find a good job right after college?
Well, that's a very good question right now, especially when May is looming for so many seniors and they're thinking, oh, I'm not going to be coming back to Milligan next year. I'm going to have a job. So what do you do to conduct a job search? Some of the most important things that you can do is, once again, just as you said, Stacy, go back to your internship. Who did you meet at that internship? Can you go back and talk with them and ask them just one simple question: are there jobs available here? And they may say, no, not at this time, but I know at this particular company they're looking for people like you. So that's a great way for people to say, okay, I'm going to go back and use this internship. Now, there's other ways that you can look for jobs too. One of the most successful ways that we've just touched upon is networking. It's just taking out a piece of paper and writing down the names of everybody you know and start asking them, are there jobs available where you work? If not, do you know of some somewhere else? And go from one person to the next and let them know what you're looking for. You have to be determined and persistent, but then also you have to know what you're looking for. You can't go in and say, well, I'm a public relations major. What if, don't let them figure it out for you. You need to have it figured out before you go in, that I'm interested in this type of position, and these are my skills and my talents, and I think they would do wonderful things for this company if I worked here.
What types of resources does Milligan offer for job search?
That's a great question. On our website, we have several opportunities to look at. It's called ONET, and then the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. That gives you information on job titles. We were talking about knowing what type of job you want to look for. Also, it gives you information on what duties those particular positions have. Then also it lets you know what the job salary range is for that particular position. That's very important to know what the job pays. The other thing it's telling you is that particular position is in demand. Sometimes it's disheartening to say, oh, well, I've gone into this and I've put 4 years of my life into training for this, and it's not a job that's in demand right now. Mm-hmm. Well, what you have to decide is, well, it is in demand somewhere. Now, where do I go to find this type of position? So you have to maybe be flexible in where you're going to live and what kind of position you're going to start out with. The other thing that's on there that I found very helpful is something called Sperling's Best Places. It helps you realize the cost of living in other places. Here in the Tri-Cities area, our cost of living is about 22% lower than the national average. But if you go to New York City or Washington, D.C., you're going to find it's 50% higher than the national average. So when you're trying to decide about salary, that's very, very important. And then there's also on there something called a salary expert, and that helps you put in a zip code for a certain type of position you're looking for and find out in that area what the pay salary range is for your type of position you're looking for. So those are some tools that are on our internet, our our own career development website that I encourage students to use. And we were talking about ways to look for jobs, Stacy. One of the other things we talked about networking. The other thing is using the internet, but don't use it as your only way of looking for jobs. That's one thing I've got to encourage students is network, look for jobs through the internet, go out and knock on the door of the place you're interested in working for. That is one of the most successful ways you can find a job. One of the things you'll find is most jobs, 75 to up to 95% of jobs, are in what's called the hidden job market. They're never going to be advertised, but by you making that contact and networking and knocking on that door, that's going to open a door and hopefully lead to a position.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. Well, in fact, employers would rather have someone referred to them by someone they trust than putting an ad in the paper and searching through all those resumes for someone who's the best candidate for the job. Now, that's not discounting looking for jobs in the newspaper. Personally, I found a wonderful job in the newspaper right out of college. So but what I'm trying to say is, use all those resources that are available. The internet, the newspaper, networking, the old-fashioned telephone book, just getting those out. If you're interested in moving, say, to Washington, D.C., get a hold of the telephone book. Look in that area if you're interested, say, in computer information systems. What companies within that area would use that particular degree, and start calling them. You have to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit when you're looking for a job.
Now, do you need to have your resume prepared and ready when you go to these places and when you call?
Yes, and that's a wonderful tool to have, but it's not the end all. I think some people think when they get their resume, I put it on the internet, I'm done. Actually, I'd love for your resume to be something you leave behind instead of send before you. I'd love for you to put it in the hands of an employer that you've made an appointment with to come by and meet and talk a little bit about the company. That's the other thing I really need to emphasize to students. Do your research on these companies. Don't expect them to say, well, this is what I think you can do for us. You have to be able to tell them what you can do for them. And your resume is a tool that helps get your foot in the door. That's what you want to look at your resume as something that's going to open the door for you and not get you eliminated. And one important thing a college graduate needs to remember is your resume needs to be one page right now. And that's tough. But that's what I'm here for in terms of helping you develop your resume. Or we do have, we haven't scheduled it yet, but we will have a resume workshop coming up a little bit closer to graduation, probably in March a little bit. But we do have some upcoming events I'd like to tell you about if I could.
That'd be great.
Coming up on March 27th, let me check my date just to make sure. March 27th, we're having a seminar on how to find a job with the federal government. The federal government is one employer that is still hiring, and it's the largest employer in the United States, but they're not the easiest employer to navigate their internet connection and figure out how to apply for the jobs and how much am I getting paid. And when I talked about a resume being one page, well, the federal government would love to see it be several pages. So I talk about those things and how to go through the application process for those type of positions. And then on April 15th, we're joining with other schools in the area at the Holiday Inn off of Exit 7 up in Bristol off Interstate 81, starting at 12 noon for the Interstate Career Fair. And this is a great way to go and find employers. They're actually hiring right now. So, there they are. Just come and visit them. Bring your resume. Come dressed professionally. And we can work together on a little bit of a little commercial that you can work with and tell employers as you come up and hand them that resume.
That sounds great.
It's going to be a great opportunity. And I think those are kind of what I call low-hanging fruit, that students need to take advantage of those opportunities, because right now, traditionally, you could have figured about 3 months to find a position. Now with the way the economy is, it's probably going to be 5 to 6 months before you can find a position. So I think you need to take advantage of all the opportunities you can.
Well, thank you so much, Beth. And we'll have information on that on our website if y'all want to take another look at that. This has been Staci Shelly with Wired.